came away with the W. Felt like we did some really good things, improved offensively. Defensively, terribly inconsistent again, was not real happy with the overall result. Felt like we did some good things at times, but then late in the game got extremely sloppy and gave them some late scores that let it become closer than it should have been. Once again, I think that part of it is on me. We could have went into 4-minute mode and tried to kill the clock, but I felt like it was important to get Bo some reps, throw the football, try to get better. There's not many SEC games where we have that type of a lead where we could try to improve upon ourselves. Again, it's been an emotional week. It'll be another emotional day today. We'll get through this as a team and as an organization. And we are working extremely hard, getting ready for an unbelievable opponent in Alabama. We all know what they are this year and what they've been for quite a few years. Nick does a remarkable job of reloading. They're an extremely talented football team, very well coached. Offensively, maybe as good of an offensive team as I've seen since I've been the head coach and a coordinator. It's been a long time since I've seen somebody as explosive as they are offensively, because they're so balanced. They're extremely physical when they want to be, and create unbelievable big plays with the talent and the receivers that they have. Max playing at an extremely high level, so very, very dangerous. Defensively, they're always good. They had a few games that were a little bit rough for them, for their standards early, but they're putting it together. They do a remarkable job defensively, always have. Again, I mentioned Nick and the job that he's done for so many years. He's absolutely one of the best, if not the best, to ever coach the game. And very talented coordinators. Pete Golden on the defensive side of the ball does a remarkable job, very well coached. And Steve Sarkeesian, I've known Steve for a long time. And those guys do a great job. And so we have a lot of work to do. It'll be a short week for us because of what we're doing today to honor John. We had the funeral this morning, and we will have a memorial this afternoon.
Thank you, Coach. We will open up for questions now. We will start with Josh Moore.
Mark, you got into it. I mean, just Bama being such a challenge on both sides. There's really no place to look for where you can kind of make some inroads, just from their perspective. With you guys, there's been times where the offense has had it going and the defense kind of has it going. Is there anything that when you look at tape from the season, why it's been the case that it's been so hard for both units to get going in one game?
Yeah, I agree with you. And if I had the answer to that, I would have a lot less stress on me, that's for sure. It's been hard to put my finger on it. Again, I really love our players. I think it's a different year, and I'm not giving them you can't give them any excuse at all. I mean, there's no excuse. We need to put it together. We need to play as a team. We need to play the very best we can on all sides, and it doesn't seem like we're doing that, and that's very frustrating to me. That's not the way it's been for us for years, but it is this year. We're terribly inconsistent on one side or the other, and we've not put it all together. And for a coach, that's frustrating. You have to look at yourself. You have to look at whatever I'm doing or not doing to motivate them or to put them in a position to be successful. It's frustrating. And, we need to, I could promise you this, it's not for a lack of effort. And it's not for a lack of effort on our players. I think the urgency needs to be greater. The attention to detail throughout an entire game needs to be greater. I know defensively, you just get, for me, there's no excuse. I sit there and watch us, and at times I see a group of young men that just, they want somebody else to make the play. They want some miraculous call to stop the play. Coach, you call something good so we could stop this play, because I don't want to stop it. I'm not going to make a play. I want my neighbor to make a play, but I don't want to make the play. or I want to do my own thing. I don't want to execute the defense. I just want to do my own thing so I could get a stat. That's what I see, and it's pissing me off, to be honest with you.
John Hill?
Mark, it obviously didn't work out the way you all had hoped, but you were the first staff to kind of identify Mac Jones as a recruit. What did you like about him then, and did you see this kind of potential in him all the way back when he was committed to you guys?
Without a doubt, we did recognize Matt early on in the process, and Coach Henshaw and all of us watched him early, and we were impressed. We felt like there was a bright future for him, and he's certainly proven us right. I wish he was here, but we still really love Matt and his family. A great young man, and it's really good to see him doing so well and playing at such a high level. He's been so accurate. I wish he was here, but happy for Mac.
Larry Vaught?
Mark, I know this has been a pretty unusual week, not just for you, but I just kind of wondered, like your family was so close to John and his family. What's it been like for your family, and what's it like for you trying to help there and also try to coach football?
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's tough because the personal relationships are strong. Within this building, we don't just say that. That's not lip service to say that we're all a family. We are. We spend an enormous amount of time together. Chantel and Leanne spend an awful lot of time together, our boys, and it's difficult. And so, it's a tough time for everybody, and we just want to be supportive and be there and during this time, but also for years to come. And as I've mentioned, John's legacy will live on for a long time because that's the type of man he was.
Nick Roush?
What can Saturday's offensive performance do to build some confidence with the offense?
I just, again, appreciate the hard work. As I mentioned, I felt like offensively when we had the bye week, we went back, looked at some things, looked at some of the basics, looked at concepts that were comfortable for the guys that we can execute. They've worked hard at it. I thought offensively they all played hard, and they played united and, really had a lot more opportunities out there had we been able to play better defense and able to have more stops and not allow them to have 80 plays. I think it really could have been a big day offensively.
John Wong?
Mark, it's no secret that you wanted to be the coach here at the University of Kentucky, and now 7 years later, you're still here. And I know you're not big into individual accolades, but now you're the all-time winningest coach in terms of home victories, and you're tied for second in all-time victories. In a profession where job security isn't the greatest, what has that longevity meant to you?
I always appreciate the job that I have, and I'm going to concentrate on this job, and I have a lot on my plate, John, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to the answer because there'll be a time, when you can look back on some good things. I appreciate the players that helped us rebuild this. I appreciate the coaches, including Coach John Slarman, who was here with me day one and all that. But, I'm really just focused on what we can do to improve our team today and to get through and find the right words of motivation through a difficult time within our family. So, really that's where my concentration is. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the answer, but there'll be time for that later. I'm grateful, to this place and the support and the players and coaches, but we're focused on what we can do. And, really not in a very good mood as far as that's concerned, as far as our play. What we're dealing with is part of life, and we'll try to find the right words and lead through that the right way. But as far as improving our football team, we need to, I need to continue to concentrate on that.
Derek Terry?
Hey, Mark, kind of two parts. Was wondering if you were expecting Luke and Kenneth back this week, and then the second part to that, how did you think Quentin Wilson did on Saturday? Kind of his first time seeing a lot of reps.
Yeah, I thought Quentin did a nice job. He played hard. He did some good things. As far as Kenneth and Luke being back, we will see. Luke tried to go. He wanted so desperately to play this past week. Went in there and just played one snap. Wasn't able to do it, so we'll have to wait and see how the week goes.
John Hale?
Mark, the things you were talking about in the open there, being frustrated with the defense, those don't sound like necessarily easy fixes. How do you address those kind of issues? Is it personnel changes? How do you go about doing that when you're worried about guys making other plays?
It could be fixed. It could be fixed with an attitude and a work ethic and a great sense of urgency and a passion to play. It could be fixed. Believe me, the challenge is going to be great. We all understand that. We're probably playing one of the greatest offenses you've seen in a long time. And then after that, you're going to see one just the same.
John Clay?
Mark, talking about the Alabama offense, you said you've known Coach Sarkeesian for a long time. Obviously, he's got a lot to work with this year. But what are the characteristics of the Coach Sarkeesian offense?
Well, I think he does a really nice job just adapting to the personnel that he has. And, but he's always had a physical presence about him. I could go back to the days of competing and playing against him, when he was calling plays at USC and I was a defensive coordinator at Arizona. He's going to be physical. He's going to have play action in there. And, he's going to get the ball down the field. And he's got some dynamic playmakers to get the ball down the field. So, it's as a defensive coach, anytime you play somebody, that has that physical presence and can run the ball and be as physical as they want to be, but also have dynamic playmakers outside, that's where it puts enormous stress on you.
Okay, we've got one question in the queue. If you have any more questions, get in line. If not, this will be our last one. Josh Moore?
Mark, I know you don't want to talk much about quarterbacks and all that stuff, but seeing Terry there kind of is solidified number one again on the depth chart. Is that, you think that's his job, unless there's an injury or something the rest of the way, just kind of letting him hold the reins? Or?
Well, I mean, again, you never know how things are going to go. I talked to him last week and kind of alluded to it on Thursday in my wrap-up, press conference that, Terry was going to start and that, he's a starting quarterback. I expect him to play well. But again, I told you that, and you did. I wanted to see all three guys. I was very, very pleased with Terry, the way he responded, the way he came out and started the game. It was very hard to take him out and even get some other guys some reps because he was playing so effective early in that game. And really, through the most part of that game, Terry really played exceptionally well. I thought he was on time with the ball. He was effective throwing the ball, very efficient. And, was dynamic and very decisive in his decision-making in the run game as well. There's things he can improve on, but that's every player. We'll watch the film and take a look at a couple reads and a couple things he could do better, but overall, I was pleased with his effort. So we will see where it goes. I was glad I got the other guys in. I put Bo in at that time because there's hard to get opportunities throughout this season to get guys reps. I felt like, Joey and Bo deserved opportunities. So I put Bo in there, and I thought he looked very comfortable, and it was good just to get his feet wet and get him some reps. I thought he looked good, and he looked comfortable, and, that was good to see for us as well. And Joey, I've been talking about the confidence that I have in Joey and what he can do. The defense makes me regret, not getting into our typical, grinded out 4-minute offense and killing time because I didn't want them to go score 2 touchdowns in under 5 minutes or whatever it was. So, that's displeasing there.
John Hale?
Mark, you were talking about your family relationships and obviously trying to support Leanne and the family at this moment. Those family dinners that you have had on, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday, basically, since you got here, obviously you can't do that at the facility this year, but have you all found ways to kind of keep that support structure up throughout the season this year, even with everything going on?
No, we haven't. It's been a difficult year. I mean, as I said, it's just different. It is for everybody. But there's no way to do that safely and to get us all here with all of our kids, with our families. There's no way that could be safe. We've done it with our position groups, and our coaches doing it with their position groups, and that's been the best way we can do it. But there's just no way to all be together as a great big football family. I mean, there's over, I wouldn't even know. I mean, there's got to be 250 of us once you get all family and everybody and all that together. So haven't been able to do that this year, no.
John Clay?
Mark, as you mentioned earlier, I mean, Coach Saban, he's one of, if not the best coach to ever coach college football. Just as a fellow coach, and I know you know Coach Saban, have a relationship with him, what do you admire most about him?
Well, you got to admire his work ethic and just the consistency that he's had. He's been around a long time, and he does a remarkable job. The man is really like a machine. I mean, he just goes at it each and every day, and he really is very consistent in his work, and that's evident with the way they recruit, and it's evident with the way they play each and every year. So I have known him for a long time. He actually recruited me out of high school, and he's done a remarkable job, and I have great admiration for what he does. And you'd be silly not to as a football coach, not to look at some of the things he does and listen to him and just see his approach and not try to grab a few things or just, you have to be yourself. You have to be authentic, but you're also stupid if you don't look at some things that, people like him and the success he has, and don't try to grab and learn, from people like that. You're not very bright. I mean, we're all going to do things our own way. And again, you have to be yourself. You have to be authentic. But again, you'd be pretty stupid not to look at some of the things he does and try to pick up a few things here and there.
Derek Terry?
You kind of hit on it a few times, and you used Bo as the example, but whenever you have had limited opportunities to play young guys this year, did it make it more frustrating Saturday that it seemed like the offense certainly played well enough to get those young guys in there, but the defense was kind of unable, I guess, to do its job?
Was the beginning part of that question, was I unhappy with that?
Well, it's just more frustrating that,
I think it's pretty obvious. I think it's pretty obvious, isn't it, that I was very disappointed and pissed off with the way we played defensively. Yeah, it's not fun because we did play good enough offensively. They deserved that opportunity. Those players did. And, each and every time you get on the field, I don't care if it's a backup, who you are, you only have so many opportunities, and you got to go out there and respect the game and play the game the way it's supposed to be played, and I didn't think we did that at times.
Josh Moore?
Mark, I don't know how much directly you're involved right now with recruiting, but from your perspective, is it a few weeks now from the early period, is there, I guess, do you feel really good about how that's gone and just how, can you speak maybe to some of the challenges it's been, going through all this and what you guys have had to personally go through, just juggling on everything?
It's different. Again, I don't mean to be a broken record. It's different. You have to adapt. It is the same way for everybody. We have to do the best we can at building relationships through Zoom and through phone calls and the best way we can. Fortunately, with this class, we already had some personal relationships from the years that we've been recruiting them and them being on campus, maybe as freshmen and as sophomores. And so, that's, we've had to rely on that. But it is what it is. I feel like we're in good shape. Recruiting, you always want better, more and more players. You always want to add to the class. I feel like we have a strong class. Appreciate the effort that the coaches have done to this point, and we got to continue to build on it as best we can through the finish line.
Jeff Drummond?
Hey, Mark, curious, going down the stretch here of the season, your offensive line room, who will handle some of those responsibilities? responsibilities, and do you lean on kind of guys like Drake and Landon to take on some extra leadership there?
You definitely do. You know, you rely on the leaders that we have and the experience that we have, but I also am working on some plans to get somebody in here with some experience just to help us and just to be there and be a steady force in that room. It's impossible to replace John at this point, and it'll be extremely hard to get caught up with everything we're doing, but I am looking to add somebody to the staff here soon to give us some experience and just to help in that offensive line room as best we can.
John Wong?
Mark, I've heard Coach Grand talk a lot about the importance of the play count, and I think I've heard him say that he always likes to shoot for like 60. Is that something that you can actively plan for, or is that just the statistic that you look at it retrospectively and say it is what it is?
Yeah, I think at times, it's hard to plan for that because obviously, you know, you're not going to turn away touchdowns, right? You're not going to turn away explosive plays, and you know, like with Chris's long run the other day, we will certainly take that any day. But you know, I think, you know, to me, it is important. You know, it's a good team statistic. You know, obviously, you know, you don't want to be out there playing defense and letting them possess the ball and getting first downs. You know, for myself as a coordinator, one of the things I look at is opponent first downs and how many times we're letting them, you know, have opportunities, and along with possessions. You know, our offense does a great job traditionally over the years of you know, possessions and controlling the ball. You know, defensively we've been pretty good. You know, not as consistent this year. There's been games this year that are extremely aggravating because we're not getting ourselves off the field defensively, and so you know, it's a hard question, John. It just depends. I mean, we did. You know, again, going back to my comments after the game, we only had 55 plays, but we had 458 yards. I mean, you'll take that. If you know, more opportunities would have come from the defense getting off the field, and then we would have had a chance to put up more yards and more points.
Okay, Coach Stoops, thank you for your time today.
Okay.
No more questions from you, so we will sign off and
Thank you.
be ready for you tomorrow. Thank you.